Good morning, and welcome to another one of my little talks. I am Reverend Onyx. I'm the chief priest here at Lady of the Circle in the Oaks in Lexington, North Carolina. This morning, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about magic. We're not talking about shooting flames out of your fingers or riding through the sky and on broomsticks or anything like that. Let's talk about what magic really is and what we can accomplish through it. Now, before we get started, we need to define exactly what we're talking about. Now, the best definition that I've found so far in all my research, without doing an amalgamation of different terms and different thoughts and all that, comes from the occultist Aleister Crowley. Now, Aleister Crowley defines magic as the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity to will. Now, interestingly enough, in every or almost every written quote of that, written documentation of that quote, the word will is capitalized. There's a reason for this. This is to differentiate will with a small letter and will with a capital letter. Now, the will with a capital letter denotes true will. Now, Crowley goes on to define true will as the will which does not rest content with the things partial and transitory, but proceeds firmly to the end. And in the same passage, he identifies that end as the destruction of oneself in love. Now, if we consider that and we consider the sages throughout history, and we realize that many have told us that God is love, we are talking about the union between man and God, by whatever term you use. The God is God, the gods, whatever term you use. I'll use the generic term God here because more people will understand it and relate to it. If we believe, as most magical people believe, especially neo-pagans, believe that God is intrinsic as well as extrinsic, meaning that God is both within and without and pervades everything. Then we understand that the divine spark lies within us all, and that we're all interconnected through that divine spark. We're all one entity, so to speak. So if we talk about integrating man and God, the within, which the God is within, we're talking about the base material and the gold, so to speak, the lead and the gold of the alchemists. We get into esoteric alchemy there, and we'll talk about that in another one of my discussions, because a lot of this ties in together. So as we go forward, pay attention, follow, and hopefully we'll grow together through these discussions. Now, if we consider that everything that we do that causes a change, everything that we choose to do, and remember that doing nothing is a choice as well. Doing nothing is a choice to do nothing. Everything we do or don't do is a choice we make. We realize that everything is magic. And we realize that even reaching out and opening a door is magic, because we have, from our thought process, our will, our cause of reaching out and turning the doorknob and pulling it, we have opened the door. We have changed it. We have caused a change. So that, in and of itself, if its basis definition, is magic. Every action that we make, every action that we do, whether mundane or magical, is magic. Now, at one point in his writings, just to tie in another little concept here, that Crowley says, he says that it is theoretically possible to cause in any object any change of which that object is capable by nature. So if we consider that, and we consider the definition of magic, and we consider the realms that we've talked about, I believe, in another exercise or another discussion, then we can affect the change of creating or joining the opposites of base and God, of the God, the body, man, and God. And just by the act of sheer willpower. Now, in Christian theology or in Christian thought, you often hear that you should, I'm trying to think of how it was said, it's been decades ago since I was Christian, you should do all things in a prayerful manner, or something to that effect. This is absolutely true. If you, in my opinion, if you are, everything you do, from eating to driving to bathing to whatever, if you are constantly thinking, at least on a back burner point of view, if you're considering your actions, your choices, to make sure that you are doing those things in conformity to what your true will, there again, true will being the will, as Crowley describes it, the will of God, so to speak, then everything that you do will work forward from that and bring about, or work toward bringing about, the end, which is the destruction of the self into love. There again, God is love. If we consider that and we put that through the meat grinder and we realize that life is a classroom. Life is a classroom that teaches us or reminds us of what our soul already knows. We bring that forward through our lessons in life and through our choices in life. As we go forward, we make our choices, we determine what's going to happen. We determine whether that choice is a good choice or a bad choice. There again, relativity there, good and bad. When we make a choice that brings about a negative action or a negative result, then we must learn from that. Learn not to make that choice in that situation again. Thomas Edison said at one point, when he was told that, you know, you've had 900, or whatever the number is, you've had 900 failures on trying to invent the electric light bulb. He goes, no, I haven't had 900 failures. And now I know 900 ways that it won't work. Think about that. Shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you're still among the stars. And then another quote that I like to hear, and I like people to use, and I like to say, is that a big shot is nothing more than a long shot that kept shooting. We keep working forward. Every tiny little baby step we make forward brings us closer to God. Magic, whether it be a mundane function or a magical or a spiritual function, a theurgic or thaumaturgic function, brings us closer to God, or has the potential to bring us closer to God. So if we focus our magic, mundane, thaumaturgic, theurgic, everything we do, if we focus that on raising the spiritual vibration of ourselves to be in union with God, or true will, whatever you want to term it, understanding that is what we're trying to do. Even the Bible For the Christians tell us that the kingdom of heaven is within. We are divine by nature. We are a part of God. God is a part of us. What we're here to do is to experience life as we are, and to raise, as the Kabbalists say, to raise through the different Sephiroth back up to Kether, which is the crown, and back through the Ein Sof, and Ein Sof order. That's another discussion in and of itself, and volumes could be talked about there. But another thing that I'd like to bring to your attention is all these different philosophies that I'm trying to tie together. Christianity, mysticism, the different forms of mysticism, the magical lodges of the AA and the Golden Dawn, and all these things, the Thelemites, neo-paganism, Buddhism, it goes on and on and on and on. All these are saying the same thing. We are, in essence, divine. We have that choice. We have that ability to raise our vibration and unite with God, and thus assuming our rightful place in the universe or in the multiverse, whatever term you want to call it. We can go to heaven by just assuming that and realizing that we have the choice. Everything you do, every magical thing that you do, every mundane thing that you do makes that step, or has the potential to make that step work, to make that step further, to make that step going toward the divine, our birthright, to be divine within ourselves. We must understand that, and we must realize that. We must integrate that into everything we do. Walk in a prayerful manner. Everything you do, think about God. Think about the divine. Think about your true self, your true inner will, your holy guardian angel, as it says, so to speak. And we'll get into that later at another point. But that's enough thought seed for right now. Remember, I don't want you to think like I do. I just want you to think. Okay? As been said millions of times before, a mind is like a parachute. It only functions when open. I'm Reverend Onyx, priest of Lady of the Circle in the Oaks, and that's my little thought seed and brain droppings, as George Carlin calls it, for the day. Take care, and may you blessed be.